The storm desk. Read the storm, book the roofs. You sign the job. The crew is busy, the truck looks productive, the day feels like work. Then the closeout lands and the job lost money. Not because the price was low. Because you couldn't see what the price had to cover. By the end of this, you'll know how to read 5 signals on a thin bid, fast, before a crew is on a ladder and a homeowner waits on a number you can't honor. Good shops bleed out one busy week at a time on jobs priced like a leak. Start with the word that quietly bankrupts shops. Margin is not markup. Markup is what you add onto your cost. Margin is what's left in your price. Add 20% markup to a $10,000 job, and you sell it for $12,000, but your gross margin, profit over price, is only about 16.7%. To hold a true 20% margin, you mark that cost up 25. This confusion has sunk contractors who booked 20 and ended the year underwater. So before you call a job thin, measure it in margin, not markup. Give yourself a reference band so an outlier jumps out. Write-ups of real roofing books land in a similar range. Residential gross margins commonly run 30 to 40%. Commercial closer to 20 to 25. Net profit after overhead, around 5 to 12% for most shops. Those aren't your targets. They're a ruler. When a bid pencils at 6% gross in a market where 30 is normal, you don't need a spreadsheet. The number is screaming. The 5 signals tell you what. Sign 1. You can't see the break-even number. The first warning is never a low number, it's an invisible one. Small roof, half a day, should be quick, that's not an estimate. That's a hope, and hope is the most expensive line item in roofing. A real bid shows what the job has to absorb before you commit. Loaded labor. Today's material quote, disposal, permits, truck and windshield time, supervision, sales hours, and overhead. If the estimate can't show those, you're not pricing the job, you're guessing. The overhead trap is where thin jobs hide. Your annual fixed cost gets recovered across your productive weeks, and most shops only get about 40 a year, not 52. So every job carries more overhead per productive week than owners assume. A job that covers materials and labor, but nothing of overhead, isn't break even. It's a loss with extra steps. And bid it off a 6-month-old cost sheet and your margin may already be gone because shingles and decking all move. Requote. And look at the bottom line in daylight. Sign 2. Real scope risk is handed to you for free. Most jobs aren't born thin. They get made thin the moment you swallow unknowns without pricing them. The headline is decking the wood under the shingles. You can't know its condition until the old roof comes off. Rotted sheathing has to be replaced because fasteners won't hold in soft wood, and that runs $2 to $7 a square foot. If your base bid assumes 0 bad decking, you price the best case, and you'll eat the difference. A healthy bid does 4 things with every unknown. Names what's included, names what's excluded, names what can't be verified yet, and states how change orders get handled. The trade treats an 8 to 12% contingency, a buffer for surprises, as normal. If a job won't tolerate any, that's a signal by itself. And don't fix a free risk job by inventing code. You can say the scope may change if we find damaged decking. You cannot say one curled shingle proves the deck is gone. Overclaiming to win a thin job is how it becomes a complaint. Sign 3. The payment terms put every dollar afloat on you. A thin job with clean, fast payment can be fine. With slow or contested payment, it's worse than a no-margin job, because now you're financing someone else's roof with your own cash and carrying collection risk on top of skinny profit. Put terms in the same decision as price. Is there a deposit that covers your material outlay? Are there progress draws, or are you carrying it all to the end? Getting paid is part of the sale. Your lien rights are a clock, not a safety net. A mechanic's lien, your strongest collection tool, is governed at the state level, and the deadlines are unforgiving. Many states require a preliminary notice within a set window, and every state caps how long you have to file. 2 things matter on a thin job. The deadlines vary by state. And a customer's promise to pay does not stop the clock. Let the date pass while you wait on a check next week, and a court will not bail you out. Sign 4. The safety plan only works if nothing goes wrong. Safety is not a margin lever. The moment a job's math only pencils because someone cuts a corner, it's already a bad job. The federal rule isn't subtle. Construction generally requires fall protection at 6 feet above a lower level, with guardrails, nets, or a personal fall arrest system. As of 2025, OSHA's penalty reaches about $16,550 per serious violation and roughly $165,000 per willful one assessed per violation. And the trend is tightening. California dropped its residential trigger from 15 feet to 6. Last year's plan may not work this year. There's a slower way safety and margin collide. Crew capacity. Skilled roofing labor is finite, not a cushion you squeeze to rescue a bad price. Take a thin job that needs your best people, special access gear, or extra supervision, and you're spending scarce capacity on low-yield work, pulled off a job that would have paid better. So ask honestly, does the right crew have a slot? Or am I sending whoever's free? Does the access plan fit this roof? A fall doesn't care about your margin. Sign 5. The job record is too thin to defend the handoff. When the scope, the terms, and the homeowner's decisions live in a scatter of texts and one person's memory, the office and the crew inherit confusion, and a thin job has no room for a round of rework. The margin disappears into one unpaid return trip. Good records, the kind tax authorities expect, let you prove what you did, defend what you charged, and learn what it cost. The minimum is short: address, dated photos, written scope and exclusions, terms and draws. Here's the gut check that makes Sigma 5 easy. If the job isn't worth creating that record for, it probably isn't worth taking. A thin job needs cleaner records than your best jobs because there's no cushion, and walk away is rarely the only move. When a job trips a signal, you have 5 responses. Reprice the risk. Narrow to the part you can stand behind. Sell a paid diagnostic, then bid from facts. Refer it to a better fit shop. Or decline it cleanly. Run the decision on your numbers, not your pride. A thin job can still be smart, but name the reason and write it down. Real route density. A repair 2 streets from a crew already there. A maintenance client you're protecting. Re-engaging your old book. The cheapest leads you own, because past customers have quietly aged into work. That last one is where Roof Predict fits. It pairs an estimated roof age range, a band, not a date, with per home storm physics to flag which past contacts are likely due, so a thin marketing dollar points at the home's worth a call. It does not inspect, diagnose, decide coverage, or price the job. You make that call. Close the loop? Walk away when the break-even math is invisible, the scope risk is unpaid, the terms put all the float on you, the safety plan only survives a perfect day, or the record is too thin to defend. One signal is a yellow flag you can reprice or narrow. 2 or more stacked, and a customer who won't budge is a clean decline. The job isn't thin because the price is low. It's thin because you couldn't tell what the price had to cover, now you can.